Hey everybody, I'm Jill Redfern and welcome to Third Shift Movement Shop, home of literal technique. This tutorial is an introduction to the Erector Spinae muscles. The Erector Spinae is one muscle of 12 in literal technique that I think are foundational to our dance technique. It is also a member of the group of 7 muscles that are central to our alignment. Those muscles have a joint and simultaneous purpose in aligning, stabilizing, and moving the 33 vertebrae. The 33 vertebrae are primary to our alignment. All other alignment flows from the 33 vertebrae. So we're going to go one by one through the 7 muscles central to alignment to talk about how they support the vertebrae and how they work together. Okay, so first up is the Erector Spinae. The Erector Spinae is actually a group of muscles. It's a group of 3 muscles that are vertical, that run basically from the skull down into the sacrum on either side of the vertebrae. When we talk about muscle, muscle has an origination bone and an insertion bone. So it originates in this place and inserts in some other bone in the body. When the muscle contracts at origination, it moves the insertion bone toward the origination bone, and that's how that bone moves. So in general, the origination bone is the more stable bone of the 2. So just keep that in the back of your mind, because we're going to start to talk about origination and insertion when we start talking about the muscles. So the first thing I want to show you is a photo of the origination and insertion points of the Erector Spinae muscles as a whole. And we're doing a sort of a big view, bird's eye view of the muscles in that way. So take a look at this photo. This is a photo of the origination and insertion points of all 3 of the Erector Spinae muscles. The origination points are in pink and the insertion points are in green. And you can see they have 3 points on the skull. They run down the center of the vertebrae, the sides of the vertebrae. They're on the ribs. They go into the back of the sacrum. The sacrum and the ilia of the pelvic barrel. Then I want you to take a look next at this picture of the spinalis muscle. Spinalis muscle is one of the 3 muscles in the Erector Spinae group. And you can see the spinalis has points of in pink, the origination, and the insertion in green. We've got connection to bone at the skull, at the cervical vertebrae, the thoracic vertebrae, and then the lumbar vertebrae. The next muscle is the longissimus muscle, the longissimus muscle, and it, you can see, also has attachments to the skull. It is now on the side of the vertebrae, and it's reaching into the ribs. Travels down, you can see it's got origination at the lumbar spine, and it's now in the sacrum. It's originating from the sacrum. So that's longissimus. And the third of the Erector Spinae muscles is the iliocostalis. Iliocostalis, you can see from this photo, has no connection to the skull. It is now connected on the sides of the vertebrae at the cervical vertebrae and the lumbar, but it's got no thoracic connection. It's connected to the ribs themselves, both originating and inserting there. And then when we get down into the sacrum, we can see that it has moved. It's also originating from the ilia of the pelvic barrel. So the sacrum and the pelvic barrel are its origination points. So I want you to take one last look again at all 3 This photo shows the connection, the origination and insertion of all three of those muscles, spinalis, longissimus, and iliocostalis, are all reflected in this photo. So I don't know about you, but I think that the Erector Spinae are just an amazingly beautiful work of muscle. This has got to be one of my favorite muscles. You can just see how it comes all the way down the body. You can understand why it's the primary mover of the back. So we use these muscles in all movement that's upright, all movement where we laterally flex, including the skull. Remember those skull connections up at the back of the skull? We use them in all movements where we extend. We extend the vertebrae, and we use them in rotation, all movements where we're rotating the thoracic vertebrae and the skull. The Erector Spinae don't cause forward flexion, but they do slow and control forward flexion so that we don't fall flat on our faces. Remember that the Erector Spinae are helping us resist gravity. So we're resisting gravity when we flex forward, but also just standing upright is a resistance to gravity. So this week in your class, figure out, you could focus on any muscle, every muscle, any movement. Any movement that you do in class is going to involve the Erector Spinae. They move the vertebrae. They move the vertebrae. So decide where you want to think about it. You can think about it during your pre-class warm-up, during your warm-up when you're going across the floor in the center, whichever, but start to become aware of the fact that every time you're moving, these muscles are supporting, laterally flexing, extending, rotating, and helping you with forward flexion every single time. Think about that. I think that's pretty amazing, and I'll see you next week.